Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful old story that, you'll see, explains a pretty confusing and frankly disturbing trend we're seeing all around us. It's a tale about how even the best intentions can, well, pave a road straight to ruin.
So let's jump right in. Have you ever kind of looked around and noticed this really weird paradox? The industries that actually build things, that create real value, they seem to be struggling. But at the same time, the businesses that profit from our bad habits, from our vices, they're absolutely booming. Well, there's an old story that explains exactly why this happens. And believe me, it's a huge warning for us today.
All right, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with that modern paradox, then jump into the story of a grateful gift, which turns into a trap. We'll explore the connection between wealth, vice, and ruin, hear a powerful lesson from a wise sage, and finally, see how this whole story is basically playing out right in front of our eyes today.
Okay, so our story kicks off with a super wealthy businessman. They call him a Seth, whose car crashes in a fiery wreck near a small, really poor village.
The local villagers, they pull him from the fire, they save his life. And for 20 days, they nurse him back to health. Now, seeing how poor they are and just feeling this immense gratitude for getting a second chance at life, the Seth promises them a miracle. He's going to build a massive textile mill right there with 4,000 jobs. I mean, for these villagers, this is everything. It's the promise of a brand new life.
So the mill opens up and the whole village starts to change for the better. But just when it seems like prosperity is finally here to stay, a new character walks onto the scene and he's ready to sow some serious seeds of discontent. A very charismatic labor leader shows up and he really gets the workers fired up. He's pointing to the Seth's fancy car, his wealth, and telling them, hey, you guys are being totally exploited. He gets a union going, and together they demand a pretty big pay raise, an extra 100 rupees a day.
Okay, and this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. The Seth, heeding the advice of this very, very clever counselor, doesn't just agree to their demand. No, he doubles it. He gives everyone a 200 rupee raise. The workers, they're ecstatic, but they have absolutely no idea they've just walked straight into a trap.
You see, this generosity was a cold, calculated move. It was all part of the advisor's four-step plan. This wasn't about helping the workers, it was about creating a brand new market, a market that would prey on their weaknesses and funnel every last one of those extra rupees right back into the Seth's pockets.
All right, let's see how this brilliant but sinister plan unfolds. The workers get their money, sure, but it comes at a price that's going to end up destroying not just their jobs and their health, but in the end, the Seth's his own peace of mind too.
And boy, does it go downhill fast. It's devastating. With all this extra cash in their pockets, where do you think a lot of the workers go? Straight to those new liquor and tobacco shops. Their health starts failing, productivity just tanks, and before you know it, that huge textile mill, the one that was supposed to be their salvation, goes completely bankrupt and has to shut down for good.
And here's the truly twisted genius of the plan. The mill itself? Yeah, that was a total financial loss, a write-off. But the profits pouring in from the liquor store, the tobacco shop, and, get this, the new hospital he built to treat all the sickness he was causing, those profits were enormous. He made back every single rupee of that wage increase and a whole lot more.
So on paper, the Seth's plan was a massive success. His bank account was overflowing, but his home? It was completely falling apart. He had all this wealth, but his family was being destroyed by the same vices he was selling. His wife died of cancer. His kids became addicts. The story has a name for this kind of money. Chanchala Lakshmi. It means cursed wealth. It's unstable, it's fleeting, and it brings this deep, gnawing unrest, or ashanti, to whoever holds it.
So now the Seth is rich, but his life is in shambles. He's totally broken. Desperate, he goes to find a wise sage living in the forest, thinking maybe he can use his fortune to buy some peace. But what the sage gives him is something else entirely. A brutal, honest breakdown of the corrupt system he created.
When the Seth tries to offer a huge donation, the sage literally kicks the money away. He tells him, this money is poison. It was earned by destroying thousands of families, and by accepting it, he'd be just as guilty. Wealth like this doesn't buy you peace. It buys you a one-way ticket to hell.
And this, right here, is the core lesson of the whole story. The corruption doesn't stop with one person. It's systemic. The sage explains how that sin money from the liquor sales infects everything it touches. The government gets its cut through taxes, corrupting the state. Officials get their salaries from that tax money, corrupting society from the top all the way down. It's this vicious, karmic cycle that just eats away at the moral fabric of an entire nation.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a powerful old story, but what does it have to do with me today? Well, as it turns out, it has everything to do with us. It's not just a story, it's basically a mirror.
Just look around. Does this pattern feel familiar? We see productive industries, the ones that actually make things, struggling to survive. At the same time, businesses that profit from addiction are thriving. And of course, the healthcare industry is booming because it's cleaning up the inevitable mess. The parable isn't just a story from the past, it's a reflection of our present reality.
So if this cycle is so powerful, who can possibly break it? In the old days, the story says the king could, but we're reminded that today, that ultimate power doesn't rest with some monarch. It rests with us, the citizens. We are the new kings.
And that leaves us with a huge, challenging question, doesn't it? If we are the new kings, what kind of kingdom are we actually building? Is it one that gets rich from its own weaknesses, or one that invests in its strengths? The choice and all the consequences that come with it are ours.